This is an All Ears English Podcast, episode 2009, How to Chat About Chat GPT in English. Welcome to the All Ears English Podcast, downloaded more than 200 million times. Are you feeling stuck with your English? We'll show you how to become fearless and fluent by focusing on connection, not perfection. With your American hosts, Lindsay McMahon, the English adventurer, and Michelle Kaplan, the New York radio girl, coming to you from Colorado and New York City, USA. To get real-time transcripts right on your phone and create your personalized vocabulary list, try the All Ears English app for iOS and Android. Start your 7-day free trial at allearsenglish.com/app.
By now, everyone has heard of Chat GPT. What do you think will happen with this new technology? In this episode, get the English conversation skills to discuss at work or at a party.
Hey there, Michelle. How's it going?
Hi, Lindsay. How are you? Everything's good over here.
All good over here, too. All good. Michelle, I have been reading a lot lately about Chat GPT. GPT.
Yeah, you have?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I'm scared and excited at the same time. How do you feel about it?
Yes. Also scared and excited. And Dan is super. We should have had Dan as a
What does
guest on
Dan
this
think?
episode.
He's excited or scared?
Both. He plays with it a lot to see what it can do, and he's like,
that's pretty cool.
He has fun with it. He'll do silly things with it, or just like write long explanations. Or anyway, we can get more into it. But yeah, he has fun with it. But it is also very scary. He thinks it's gonna change like everything, like the whole world.
It probably will, right? And I think now most people are just in that playing mode where we're just going in and like, ooh, I wonder if it can do this. I wonder if it can do this. Yep. And I wonder at what point, because we've seen with, for example, with social media, with Facebook, we saw that, taken in a bad direction where, the algorithm learned that you wanted a kind of news, and then it only fed you. It put you in an echo chamber, right? Mm-hmm. And that created a lot of fake news. It's creating a lot of political divisions. It still is. So I think people are, with that in mind, we're on the heels of that. So people are wary now of this next thing. What is this going to do?
Right. Exactly. I mean, do you think this is going to be as big as just like when the internet came about? Do you think this is like the biggest thing, like a life-changing thing?
Well, I think the day the internet came about was a big deal. Clearly, the internet literally changed. So this will probably be the next big shift.
That's what I think.
Bigger than social media. I think this will be bigger than social media.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah. I mean, because there's the internet and then there's
involved with everything.
And now AI, language models. So anyways, we want to remind our listeners before we get into it, Michelle, to do what to make sure they don't miss us.
You guys, well, we want you to hit follow on the All Ears English Podcast wherever you are listening to us. We publish 4 days a week. Rain and the snow,
rain or shine. Yeah. Rain or shine. We don't care. We
don't care. We're here. So never miss anything by hitting follow where you are listening to us. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess because Dan is so into this kind of stuff, he likes all this sci-fi. And did you ever watch the show Westworld? I think
no, I've heard about it though. Yeah,
just like all this future stuff, robots, and I didn't really like the show in the end, but he liked it. So I had to watch it. But anyway, so this topic though, I'm glad we're going to talk about this, and a listener brought this up to us. So this is really a listener question. So Jeff Wu mentioned that was a topic he wanted to hear us talk about on the show. So we're going to go for it. So I'm glad that Jeff, thank you for bringing this up. And we've been meaning to talk about it since it's so huge. It's such a great topic.
And this is such a good topic because I think Jeff asked for topics, that we might talk about in the business world, but as human beings. And this is a great one. You are just as likely to have a conversation like this with your colleagues at work as you are at a party with your friends. So this goes across both environments, which we love that kind of thing because we want you guys to be dynamic and have a robust career and a robust social life.
Exactly. So this is just one of those hot topics of today. Yes. So we're going to talk about it ourselves, talk about our opinions and different things. And we're also going to show how you can talk about it, how you can bring it up in conversation. So guys, also we want to direct you. This is not about Chat GPT, but it's about the future perfect, guys. So it's about the future. All Ears English episode 1919 is you will have mastered the future perfect English grammar mastered future perfect English grammar by the end of this episode. So you can also talk about the future.
Yeah, that's a great one to refer to, Michelle, because our listeners will also need that grammar. Right. When we open these conversations, by 2030, our lives will have changed profoundly due to Chat GPT. Things like that are things you guys are going to be saying to your friends and native speakers.
Exactly. So, all right. So, Lindsay, what is it? For people who don't know.
Yeah, I don't know that much about it. I'm not nerding out yet. I've tried it once and I was pretty impressed, but then I moved on because I'm so busy. But ChatGPT, I think what it is the next iteration of AI technology where they use the language models, right? It's a level smarter than like Alexa or any kind of chatbot where she just goes out, she gets the data on the internet and then she spits it back to you. It looks like ChatGPT learns faster and learns more and integrates multiple things from different places. That's all I know.
Yeah. Well, so right. I mean, you can have for now, I'll just tell you what we've been playing with or what Dan has been playing with. You can have ChatGPT answer questions for you. For example, we have a trip coming up and he's been using it to plan an upcoming trip. So he might say something like, give me an itinerary for 4 days in Florida, and it will give you one. And then you might modify it and say something like, okay, now plan it for having a 1 and a 4-year-old. Or
love that.
Make it more specific. So it's different from you can, sometimes I think, well, can't you just look this stuff on Google? But this just kind of puts it in one place. Or just for fun, you can ask it to rewrite a book in the style of a celebrity. So my kids love this little kids book called Pout Pout Fish. And it's almost like he doesn't really work. I don't know why he's always sending me this stuff during the day, but I'm just joking. So he'll say have redo the Pout Pout Fish in as done by Britney Spears or Chris Rock or something like that. So it will take those person's patterns, speech patterns, and make the story for the style of this book. So there are silly things like that you can do. But I mean, Lindsay, what do you think this means for the future?
Yeah, well, convenience for one thing. I love the customization that you were just talking about. Plan my trip, but now plan it for having a 1 and 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Often I find I need this in the car. Google Maps is not quite right. I want to be able to say to Google Maps, hey, I'm driving to New Mexico, but on the way, I want to see some beautiful scenery. And by the way, I want to take back roads. And by the way, I want to stop for a lunch break and I want the price point of my lunch to be here. That is not something you can do just by Googling when you're driving. There's no way you can do all of that. But that would be amazing. So I think it's just going to make things more convenient. Obviously, I don't want humans to stop thinking, right? That's the big danger, I think. That what if we stop thinking and we stop being critical in information that we are given from this robot? Yeah.
Well, that makes me think of I've heard stories now of students using it for papers, and they just say, write me an essay on this. I don't know. I was watching the news and a professor was talking about how their student turned in an essay. And then they looked at the essay and then the student told them, guess what? Chat GPT wrote this, just to show that. And he was he would have never known. So that's a problem academically, how students can use this. I mean, this is worse than just the regular plagiarism. This is hard too, because I guess you could say now rewrite it with you can, there was one thing we were practicing, if you were gonna write a letter to someone about a tough issue, like we were just playing with this, and then we said, okay, write as if this was happening and that was happening, and then we said, okay, now make it more casual, now make it more, now make it more, and now make it a little bit funny, and it'll just change it. It's wild.
Right. It's incredible. I've seen that too. I mean, so this is, the reason we're here talking about this today, and the reason Jeff asked about this, Michelle, is what are we going to get into here? Because I think our listeners have heard so much about this. We're all, unless we're living under a rock, we've heard about this in the news. We know what's going on more or less, or we have a sense. But the key skill today is, how do we talk about it in English, right?
Right, exactly. So, well, there's tons that you can bring up in conversations. I mean, Lindsay, do you think this would be appropriate to bring up at a party, or like when would you talk about this, or is there a time when it's not appropriate?
I think, if it's a topic that comes up at a party, which it has for me in the last few months or last 6 months, definitely talk about it. You want to know how to open those questions. I'd say ask good questions, because if you keep saying the same things that everyone else is saying, people might get bored. So ask a unique question, something interesting, right? That's, what do you think about this? How would it handle this? How is it going to change this? Right? We want to
Right. And that's where you said, how is it going to change this? That is one of the, things I wanted to bring up, because you can talk about different aspects of it. It's not just the overall Chat GPT. It's like, how will it affect different industries? So education, like we said, plagiarism.
Yes.
Tutoring, travel, like how I said, planning itineraries. Medicine is a huge one. Like, what will the future of medicine be? And, people are going to lose their jobs over these kinds of things. I mean, everything can change from this as well. So just like the economy, there are many different, within this Chat GPT umbrella, there are many areas you can talk about. So you could cater it to one topic. Maybe you're talking about going to the doctor or something with a friend. You might end up saying and I've heard Chat GPT, I think one of the most important things you can do is start to be educated about it, and start to kind of learn about it. Look for interesting things that you can learn, so you can be prepared for these conversations. So just for example, there was an article on techexplore.com, February 10th, 2023. And it was Computer Scientist Discusses the Pros and Cons of ChatGPT. And this was from Johns Hopkins University. So, and, so if you guys want to look up that one, that would be great. But it talked about different pros and cons, and what it will be in, a few years from now. And they talked even about they say, I quote, the car, the fridge, the washer, and how things might end up talking to you. So there's just so much. So I would say just really try to dive into this topic.
I mean, we always say in language fluency and in IELTS, the IELTS exam, which Aubrey and Jessica are over at the IELTS Energy podcast, the key to one of the first foundations of connection, guys, through language is having information. Consuming content so that you actually have something interesting to say, because you can have perfect grammar, but you can be the most boring person in the world because you don't consume anything. You don't have anything to say. Okay. So I would rather that you have a lot of interesting ideas and make some mistakes, but actually connect. Okay.
Oh, I totally agree. That's a great point.
All right. Okay, Michelle, let's get into what our listeners can do here. Let's go straight to the value for our listeners.
All right. So let's give some expressions that our listeners can use, or ways that they can bring it up in conversations.
Yes.
Okay. So Lindsay, what's the first thing you can say?
All right. So what do you think about Chat GPT? And Michelle, where was my intonation there?
What do you think about it?
Right. So here's a good question. Does this have to happen after someone else has brought up the topic and someone else has said their opinion? Or can I just open that up, because the assumption is that everyone is already talking about this? So I'm saying, so what do you think? Because everyone else has in the society said what they think. Do you know what?
I think it's okay to bring it up like this. Also, you could do the intonation in this way. You could say, so what do you think about Chat GPT?
Yes.
Right? You could do that as well.
Yes.
You would use the first way definitely if you're saying your opinion and then you want to hear specifically the other person's opinion.
Perfect. Well, yeah, you exactly. So usually that what do you think is used in kind of in combination with the other person when they've already said it. Kind of the implication, if they haven't said their exact opinion yet, and you're opening the topic, is that other people have said their opinion.
Right.
We're all sharing our opinion. So what do you think about this new Chat GPT? I think that could also work in that way. But usually, Michelle, that you is emphasized when you've already heard from the person you're talking to. Right?
I think so too.
Interesting.
You could also say, have you tried Chat GPT yet? So asking them if they've tried it, have they gone and put in, played with it, what, and then you can share what you've done and things like that.
Yeah. Or here's getting into the details a little more. What do you think the most positive and negative impact will be of Chat GPT? I keep saying GPT on the world. It just feels more natural, Chat GPT, on the world. So this one feels like a slightly more like academic
to the next level.
Yeah. This is more of a debate. Maybe you're co-listening to a podcast with someone and it comes up and you want to get into a smart argument. That's where we would bring this in. I would not use this as an opener, Michelle, at a party, right? It's too heavy.
Right. I think like these other questions like, oh, so what do you think about it? And then if they say, oh yeah, I don't know. Have you tried it yet? Oh, a little bit, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, what do you think? The most positive impact will be in the world. What do you think the most negative impact? Things like that.
Exactly. Let's do one more. And then I want to get us to a role play here.
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm still learning about Chat GPT. Have you been following the news about it? Right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So another good intro.
Yeah. So let's go into a role play here, Michelle. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So what do you think about Chat GPT?
Oh man, I have mixed opinions. Have you tried it yet?
Yeah, I've played around with it. What do you think the most positive impact will be of Chat GPT on the world?
Well, I'm hoping, I think healthcare will greatly improve. I hope. I think that will be the main benefit, but I don't know. You?
Yeah, I'm still trying to imagine this whole thing. Yeah. So maybe another episode, Michelle, we could take a different angle on this and how to say you are baffled or you're still trying to imagine or you are confounded by this, right? So it's a sense of awe and confusion and just not knowing what's ahead. We could teach our listeners that another day. Right.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Just to go through it real quick, because I know we're kind of running out of time here, Michelle. I started with, what do you think about Chat GPT? Right. And then you said,
have you tried it yet?
And then I said, what do you think the most positive impact will be of Chat GPT on the world? And again, that's when we're really getting into this a bit more.
I didn't, I left one of them out, but yeah, we used most of the expressions. But yeah, guys, this is exciting stuff. It's exciting. It's scary. And the takeaway is we gave you a background of the hot topic. We gave you some of what, some facts about it, some of the things that we've been doing with it, and also just how to talk about it, because this is everywhere. So also make sure you consume information about it so that you're able to have those discussions.
Yeah, I mean, you can count on someone asking you this question if you're hanging out with native speakers, whether it's at work or in your social life. So consume some information, start to form some opinions, but don't be hard and fast on those opinions, right? Because, the opinion that everyone's going to lose their jobs, I think that it's more like humans are going to be pulled to do something better. Like humans hopefully will be pulled higher,
I hope so.
Be more qualified, improve, think better, and work along with the robots in a way. That's my opinion. It has to be that way. Otherwise what's going to happen to the world?
I don't know. It's exciting. I guess we'll, in years from now, we can look back at this conversation.
And we can also learn from history. This is the last point. And then we're getting off the mic. We can look at the car crash in Detroit, in the Rust Belt, in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, right? You can take our Connected Communicator course. We went to the Rust Belt and interviewed people that lived in those places where the car boom happened. And then it got destroyed. It ended, right? And what happened, right? What did they do? How did they react? We can learn how to act around Chat GPT by looking at what happened in the Rust Belt. That's just one example of a boom and a bust. Right? Very interesting.
Good point, Lindsay. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm glad we talked about this. Thank you again to Jeff for this question.
All right. Sounds good, Michelle. Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to All Ears English. Would you like to know your English level? Take our 2-minute quiz. Go to allearsenglish.com/fluency score. And if you believe in connection, not perfection, then hit subscribe now to make sure you don't miss anything. See you next time.